Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. Today we're going to talk about this blood for good story. And the reason why I want to cover it is because Israel doesn't want to talk about it. So that just piqued my interest. So in research for tomorrow's video, which is the villain episode on Adolf Eichmann, who had the big show trial in the early 1960s and popularized the Holocaust, basically. At the very end of the Jewish Virtual Library reference in tomorrow's video, there's this paragraph which I'm going to read to you. And they're talking about these Eichmann tapes, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. But they're these mysterious tapes that were supposedly taped in the 50s. You still can't listen into them to today because you would just be radicalized. You just got to trust sources like Life magazine about excerpts from them. They're really suspicious, right? And at the very bottom of this article about the Eichmann tapes, it says a portion of the tapes published in Life dealt with the blood for goods deal. According to the documentary, one reason the tapes were not used in the trial, because they didn't have them and they don't exist, was that Prime Minister David Ben Gurion did not want the issue, the blood for goods issue, which had led to the controversial trial of Rudolf Kastner, resurrected, right? So if David Ben Gurion doesn't want the issue to be brought up, then I kind of wanted to bring it up, right? So as a source for this, I'm just going to use the same Jewish Virtual Library, a Jewish source. It's American Jews put this out. So here's what the story is about. On April 25th, 1944, as a desperate measure to increase the supply of goods into the country, the Nazis offered to permit 1 million Jews to leave Hungary in exchange for goods obtained outside of Hungary. Included in this deal was a request for 10,000 trucks for civilian use or for use along the Eastern Front. Adolf Eichmann said, "When the 10,000 winterized trucks with trailers are here, then the liquidation machine in Auschwitz will be stopped." Okay, so when it says Adolf Eichmann said that, that's this Jewish guy is saying that Adolf Eichmann said that, right? And not even related to the Eichmann tapes. This is, we're going to see. And so if we look at this chart from yesterday's episode, we'll see Hungary is the 5th country down. Blue bar is how many Jews were in Hungary. And the black bar is how many were claimed were killed in the Holocaust. So you see there's 445,000 Jews in Hungary, and they claim that 270,000 of them were killed in the Holocaust. And they're offering in this blood for goods plan 1 million Jews. Okay, so it's pretty absurd. And let me just read you a little bit more of the story before I give my opinion. So the Nazis chose Joel Brandt, a member of the Relief and Rescue Committee of Budapest, also known as the WADA, to assist them in negotiations with world Jewish leaders and the Allied governments. Also chosen to manage negotiations with the Allies was Andor Gross, a minor intelligence agent, an employee of both the WADA and the SS at different times. Gross was supposed to lead a different set of discussions, a separate German truce with the Western Allies. Brand, the Jewish guy, was a decoy to distract the Allies from Gross's more important mission. So his secret mission was to get peace. And these are the bad guys. Okay, Eichmann and the upper echelons of the SS, including Heinrich Himmler, approved this proposal, which would allow the Jews to leave Hungary for any Allied occupied country, with the exception of Palestine, because the Nazis had promised the Grand Mufti, Haj Amin al-Husseini, that he would prevent Jewish immigration to Palestine because they were allied with the Palestinians, the Germans were at the time. And so whether this paragraph is true or not depends on whether or not you believe both the Jew, Joel Brandt, and also if you believe Adolf Eichmann, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. And so this makes Adolf Eichmann even far less credible than tomorrow's video. The conclusion of tomorrow's video leads you to believe, I feel, because I researched this after we had filmed that video. So the offer was not seriously considered because the Allies believed it to be a trick and did not want to negotiate with the Nazis. The British press stirred up opposition to the proposal, calling the monstrous offer, that phrase you hear all the time, to exchange goods for Jews, blackmail. Several considerations factored in the decision of the Allies to dismiss the deal. Soviet opposition of the idea, British hesitancy to absorb that number of Jewish immigrants should the Nazis really permit them to emigrate, and the continuation of the final solution in Hungary. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on here. The part where it said Soviet opposition to the idea, obviously Soviets wouldn't want this deal to go through because they don't want The Nazis that have 10,000 more trucks, winterized trucks on the Eastern Front, obvious, right? British hesitancy to absorb the number of Jewish immigrants, which is hilarious because nobody wants the Jews in their country at the time. We've discussed this, France, Britain now. This is just a regular thing. And the continuation of the final solution in Hungary, which is one of the considerations which decided that they weren't going to do the blood for goods plan. They didn't believe that there was a Holocaust going on, you see? And so this is why Israel doesn't want to cover it, because if the Jews were really being mass slaughtered, you'd be like, 10,000 trucks is a cheap price for 1 million souls, you know? But on the other hand, if they're not killing them and they're just in